Before we start, I need to mention that I use the recommended loadouts for this first scenario for the campaign. You can download it from the website. And I think what you want to do is also I actually switched out the recommended model for the strain for the Quasimodo. Why did I do that? It's because the strain is basically a melee army, and the Quasimodo is one of the very few ranged units you have. So yeah, that's the reason why. And also it does have the ability to infect a human Samaritan, and that's what you want. All right. Before we start, we need to set up the TechNet, which is for the Vanguard force. And as you can see here, you need to start with a pool equal to the force's highest tactics limit plus 1d6. In this case, your highest tactic limits, because we're only starting with the Samaritan, is your tactics limit is 1. So you're gonna have 1 plus 1d6, which is, so let's go, and you have a 4, which makes it a 5. Okay, so now this is turn 1. Now what we want to do is, active mode is just what we call the side who goes first. In this scenario, the Vanguard go first. And you start off with the force management. Now each side has a different, it's asymmetric. Each side has a different force management phase. The Vanguard is very simple. What you do is replenish the tech net by a number of counters equal to the tactics limit of the highest ranking model, which happens to be, of course, just a 1. And so during the force management phase, you're supposed to either take 1 or more tactics counters from the technet pool, okay, no more than tactics limit, or you can leave the counters in the technet pool, the tactics counters in the technet pool, so that you can use it to place a target mark counter on the enemy model within a Vanguard vector. Okay, so you don't have anybody in line of sight, so you can ignore this. So what I've chosen to do is just give each and every single one of the models a tactics counter. Only 5 get it because we only got 5 at the beginning, so the 6th model doesn't get it. In this first scenario, you would only ever need maximum of 7, because you can't replenish more than 1, and you can't start with more than 7. Maximum you start with is 7. Now, what would you use the TechNet counters for? Now, in this scenario, the Samaritan, we only have Samaritan, so if you look here, the ability is, effect is Frosty, stay frosty, which means that cost is 1 TechNet counter. What do? It's basically you use it to trigger the ability called Frosty. It will cost you 1 action, and it costs you 1 tactics token, not TechNet token. And what it allows you to do is to roll 4 dice instead of your usual 3. Now it's turn 1. The Vanguard go first. Samaritans start moving. So what we do is we just start moving this guy, A. So his movement is, their movement is 6. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which puts them right next to the door. Right, for his second action, he will just spend 1 to open the door, but I leave him there. Why do I do that? Because otherwise each guy will lose 1 point just to open the door. The doors are weird here, you think that in this science fiction future you have doors that know how to open and close, like Star Trek. They solved it in the 1960s, but this one I just don't know. So his activation is done. Next activation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she moves on 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then she stays there. No, she comes here. She stays there to keep the door open. Weird. Tell me about it. Next one goes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one, they're supposed to tell you that you just continue on. This is just 1 space. So 5, 6. All right. They don't quite reach the door, so they can't. He can't. He can't open it. And this guy will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what they do. And that's it. Each one gets 2 turns, and that's the end of the Samaritan turn. Now it's the strain force management, because these guys are now in the active mode. And what you do now is that you move into the strain force side, and you notice there are 6 things that they can do during their force management. This is before any models activate. However, right at the beginning, there's nothing much you can do because you don't have any nano counters, you don't have anything, so you just ignore it for the first turn. All right, you do the activation, each one perform 2 actions. Okay, first model that activates, of course, will be this guy here, and what he will do is he will spend his one to open the door, and he'll just move 1 here, keeping his adjacent to the door, so he will keep the door open. You might want to, if you don't have doors, you might want to have some sort of marker to indicate whether the door is open and closed. All right, otherwise you'll be wasting 1 movement point just to do this. So this guy will go, so he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we don't want to do that, because the Quasimodos have a movement of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At the end of turn 1, you have the Vanguard over here moving in, and you have the strain all ready to pounce on the next turn. Turn 1 has been very simple. You just move, you don't do anything else. Now, turn 2 is where you really have to think tactically. What do you want each of these Samaritans to do? Alright, the first thing that we do is we refresh the tag token, the tagnet tokens, and then we give it to the last Samaritan so that all of them have a tagnet token. During this Vanguard Force Management phase, you just access the tagnet. You can designate targets, spend a tactics counter to place a target mark counter, but you don't have any target to place the marker on, so that's it. So that's the end of the force management phase for the Vanguard. I need to explain some of the terrain features here. So the red line means that it's a low wall, you can move over it and you can shoot over it, but it just costs you extra 1 movement point. And similarly, this one's here. I don't know what these are supposed to be. This is a blue line. It's supposed to indicate something, a low glass partition, a wall, something like that. I have no idea what these are supposed to be, so I'm just thinking they're just, glass partitions. Alright, so it's going to cost extra to move, extra 1 movement to move across here. So we activate this one here. She will spend 1 turn to open it and come here, and that's all she does because she wants to open the door. This guy moves in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and he's in position to activate this terminal the next turn. What this one does is that it actually gives you a freebie tactics counter for each. You replenish tactics counters. So you want to, this is the turn where you get to be very, 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 spend all your tactics counters because he's gonna help you replenish it later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And then what you want to do is you want to come here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Next will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy is A. So he's gonna go on Overwatch. A will go on Overwatch. I forgot, and because she's standing over there, so it's C. C will go on Overwatch too. This gets up for as a second action, and this guy will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. That's all there is to turn 2. Vanguard phase. There is, of course, the strain force management phase, which we are going to ignore because, again, there's nothing much you can do here. And so we'll activate, and this guy activates first, and he's just going to stay there and just close the door. He's not going to be doing anything much. It's the rest of these guys that's going to do the rest of the work. Round, because there are no spore tokens. This guy moves in here and this guy moves in here and opens the door. 2, and he stays here and holds the door open. Then this guy comes in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. Now, this is a sacrifice piece for this particular scenario, because what happens is the Samaritan side have a reflex trigger, which means basically when you are not the active mode, you are in the reflex mode, and each model has a reflex trigger, something that triggers their reflexes. And for the Samaritans, is as soon as this guy enters into their line of sight vector or line of sight, this guy has line of sight here, this guy has vector here, and this guy has vector here. They have to immediately use it or lose it. You can't like hold on and say I don't want to use it now. I have to use it now. I want to use it later. I have to use it now. Use it or lose it. So what happens is you can justify it in the law by saying like they are on combat drugs, hair trigger reflexes, whatever. So 3 models are eligible to shoot at this guy, and we have to now account for that. So what I will do is I will use this guy will go first. Now what you will do is you will see that, how do you know you have vector? Well, in the center of each square there's a very, very, very faint cross, and what you do is that there's a faint cross here. If you can draw a line to this faint cross here without anything blocking it, you have vector, you have line of sight. All right, so she has line of sight, but because it crosses this line here, this guy has a defensive bonus. Okay, so she will shoot. Now you will look at if you look at the card, now the Samaritan has a carbine and it has 2 attacks. One is the normal saber kinetic carbine. The other one is a saber overload. The first one just means that this is your modifier. 5 means just you can add this number of 5 to the dice roll. Range is medium, which means you can do 8 spaces, I think it is. Medium is up to 8 squares away. And this is the damage. It does 5 basic damage if you hit. And now this is interesting. For every 6 that you roll, you add an additional 2. This is called the staging. I don't know why, but so if you roll a 6, you would deal in your dice roll, you would deal a total of 7 damage. If you didn't roll a 6, you only deal 5 damage. The other attack is the Saber Overload, and what it does is it's short, which means it's 4 spaces, but it still gives you that plus 5 bonus, right? And then what it does is, now this is interesting, whatever you do, you'll just hit a flat 10 damage. That's all it does, all right? Even if no matter how many sixes you roll, you're not going to get any bonuses or anything like that. And the trade-off is you can only use this once per activation. All right. Unfortunately, you cannot make a focused attack. So yeah, you just roll a basic 3 dice and you hope for a 15. All right. And you missed because it was just a measly 9. So that's done. This guy can shoot, but because of this one here, is again considered in cover. So he can't do a Saber Overload because it's more than 4 squares away. So he just does a normal Saber Kinesis. And looking for 15 plus, and you get 11. So that's a miss too, and you get this one here. The third and final model, I'll take this thing away so you can see better. This model is going to shoot at this guy. Short range, so she can use the overload. No cover, so you're looking at the 12 and above. And yes, we hit it. 12 and above. Okay, so she got this, this is a 6, right? These are the special dice that you get for the Kickstarter. This is a 6. If you have it, it's fine. If you don't, it's also fine. Every time you roll a 6, what the 6 does is it triggers the staging damage for your weapon, if the weapon has any, as I explained earlier. But because she's using her overload, she doesn't get anything. But an open 6 also means that she gets to roll an extra dice. Okay, they call it open roll. What it actually means is other games just call it exploding dice, right? Every 6 you roll, you can roll another dice, and as long as you roll a 6, you just keep on rolling extra dice until you don't roll a 6. So 1 for a total of 12, 15 plus the bonus of 5 is 20, overcomes the Revenant's 12 defense, and there's an auto hit. That's definitely a hit. And then what happens is, because we use the Saber Overload, it immediately generates 10 hits. And this guy only has 10 points, so he's dead. Now, what happens to this guy is, Revenants have this ability where if they die, they just melt down into putrefaction. Alright, they have a trait called putrefaction. When killed, remove the Revenant and replace it with a nano counter. So this is the nano counter, and what it is just think of it as an invisible cloud of nano spores. Alright, that's what it is. That's all it is. This is the first nano counter we have, and there's so many things that we can do with it. These 3 models have done their activation, reflex action, so they can't shoot again. They're done. Okay, that was bad. I moved them all and I didn't switch the camera wasn't running, but this is in the end result. These guys have activated. They can't use their reflex trigger. This model has 0, does not have line of sight to this square, so the reflex trigger doesn't trigger. This reflex trigger doesn't trigger because friend or foe models block line of sight or vector in this game, right? So yeah, he can't shoot. So again, positioning is very important. You don't want to block people like this so that you can have a clear line of sight. This was a mistake. So that's it. End of game, turn 2. So what you can see now is that these guys just barely avoided getting hit. Otherwise they would have gotten corrosion, not great. We've got one nano counter here. Now the Vanguard with just the Samaritan, they cannot do anything about the nano counter because the guy that can get rid of the nano counters isn't in this scenario, right? We chose the 6 Vanguard because what you need here is you need bodies, you need activations because otherwise you will be out activated. And the next turn during the strain force management, you'll see some interesting things that we can do with the nano counter. Until then, that's it. For now, like and subscribe, which I absolutely forgot to tell you guys for the other video. So, and I'll see you another video for turns 3 and 4.